Lydia Daydal, Fight Connect TV, backstage at the Everyman Theatre in Cork at the Fit Talk events with just fresh off the stage speaker here today from Next Level Coaching. It's Lorna Lawless.
Hi Lydia.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great.
Delighted to finally get you on.
Yes, it's been
long overdue. Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, Lorna is specialising in the combat mind, I suppose we would say, right?
Yeah. So I suppose I am a trainer or a coach in developing people's mental toughness.
Okay.
So I would have started out or got into that, I suppose, working in SPG Ireland for John Kavanagh, working with the Wimped Warriors to help them develop their mental toughness. Obviously what they do is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And the talk that I was given today was reflecting on the work that I had done with Emma Stafford, who stepped in after 12 weeks training. She went from zero to hero.
Yeah.
Step
into yourself.
Step into the circle. Yeah.
Yeah, it was part of Wingman, so it was Baz Ashwami, I think it's his surname. So he done a new series called Wingman. It's basically getting regular people to step out of their comfort zone and try a challenge, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hers was at 50 or in her 50s to try MMA.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Emma had a background of unfortunately of domestic and physical sexual assault. So stepping into a combat sport for her really was a desire to become more empowered in herself, which thankfully we're seeing more and more women doing these days and using jiu-jitsu or MMA or any sort of combat sport to learn self-defense and build their self-confidence.
How did you end up in combat? Was it something where you set out and said, okay, I see a niche here, it's something I want to try and capitalize on, or were you in a similar kind of career or workspace before that?
Yeah, I would have been I did my master's in coaching and positive psychology, and how I started getting into I don't come from a combat sport background, but when I was doing my research, I wanted to study flow states, which is that moment when you're completely absorbed at the task at hand, and some people call it the runner's high or in the zone. I was particularly drawn to studying MMA athletes, one because there's very little literature done on it, and two, I keep stepping back.
It happens all the time. People wonder why I hold people in interviews. All the comments why is she holding that person? Because they move.
Stay there.
People have a tendency to talk and they go and they move away, and then the next minute you're off. So you're studying this kind of in the zone.
Yes, exactly. So why I suppose I was primarily interested in that was as well, any kind of MMA athlete that I knew were these really grounded, humble people, right? And it's completely
big
different.
Misconception, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was like, no, that's them, and look at what they do, and there's just this disparity, and I was like, I need to know how they're doing that, and what's the kind of what's the switch that they're able to use. So that was my initial draw into it, and I suppose things just kind of naturally progressed from there on. As I said, I started working with the Wimped Warriors, which are amazing. It's really, really great. And then through that, I was asked to come on board and support Emma.
Brilliant. And then how did you end up working or involved with Fit Guru and the Fit Talk events?
Yeah, with the Fit Talk events, Niall contacted me last year. We met, he'd seen an interview that I did with John Kavanagh about the mental toughness and working with Wimped Warrior, and he just kind of dropped me a message, what's going on? I'm into this too, I'm just back from Australia. So we kind of kept in touch, and then he introduced me to Kieran, and I was asked to facilitate at the retreat in Carlingford.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so I did a talk there about mental toughness, something similar. Yeah,
because it's something obviously, especially with MMA athletes or combat sports in general, we see that people have so many areas of their training camps or their fight life looked after. So their strength and conditioning, their nutrition, their actual training, their drilling technique, and then they might have those conversations with their coaches where they set in a game plan or different things, but there's a whole stratosphere of mental strength and mind control behind that's really important. Something that we see quite often is that, and a lot of pro fighters that have been at the peak of their career have said it to me, that the fight itself is actually just 1%, and it's everything else behind that's the 99. And we see a lot of fighters that they have everyday stresses, everyday life commitments, whether it's family, full-time jobs or kids or whatever it might be. And they're then expected to go and perform in a way that's really kind of out of a natural comfort zone for people. A lot of our viewers will be watching this now and they'll be like, give me the secret. You know, is there anything that you can touch on that? Like, do people have to come to you to tap into that, or is there little things that we can start doing as athletes to perform? Absolutely. I suppose
this is the beauty about coaching and stuff like that. There is no magic wand. Okay, they are small, tiny changes that you begin to make, and it starts with your mindset. It starts with your self-talk. So in terms of controlling stress, coming up to a fight night or a fight camp or something like that, some of the biggest things that's going to stress us out is this feeling of overwhelming.
Yeah.
So if you can break things down.
To interrupt you there, Lorna, do you think that the overwhelming feeling is the overwhelming need to impress the people that are coming to support you, or to perform yourself, or where do you think it's coming from?
Like, I think it's blended. I think they have a lot at risk, you know, more so than, I mean, someone
also get the risk of being knocked out is like massive.
Yes, absolutely. Like there's physical risk, but there is, and I spoke about this recently with Craig on the Dead Leg podcast, is I think that there's a big social thing there because of the show that has to be put on in order to sell tickets, right? So it's just the natural way of the professional MMA fighting, right? So that's just the formula that they use. So they're going to have to put out this persona in order to draw the public in to either someone is going to pay a ticket to either want to watch them win, or if they don't like them, they're going to want to watch them lose. So like that's huge. I consistently try to think of a comparison thing in any life, really, like in any job or any other sports where the athlete or the person, the individual, has to go through that. And
the risk is so high on so many levels, right? You know what I mean? And especially with MMA, I think that it's the most unforgiving of combat sports because it's so new and it's so fast paced that you have to just roll on that wave if you get the opportunity, because one loss, one missed, you know, taking 6 months off, it can be detrimental to your career down the line, you know, in some cases.
Yeah, absolutely. And like that, you're right, it is more specific to MMA because, I mean, like in jiu-jitsu competitions, you don't get people calling each other out across the mats or anything like that. You know, that element of it just isn't there. It is, I wouldn't say it's an unfortunate side of it, it's just what it is. But it is another thing that these athletes have to deal with on top of all the other performance pressure.
Brilliant. Well, listen, it's so great to actually find, because I've heard so much about you and we've known so much about each other, and this is like the first time that we got to
doors.
Literally. So I was delighted to catch your talk. I caught some of it on video as well, and I'm definitely delighted to get you on the show, and I need to get you on my podcast as well, because it's longer time that we can talk about it. And it's really refreshing to see someone come, you know, into the sport, into combat sports, with this new sort of fresh approach. A little fresh approach, and you know, you're wonderful, so
no problem.
Don't go anywhere, we need you. Lorna Lawless from Next Level Coaching for Fight Connect TV.
Thanks.